Namaskar, dear seekers. Good evening to all of you. So, dear seeker, today's topic in our series of question answer, it will be 5 effective solutions for depression. I think some of you are joining us probably from different part of the world. So first, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Cyriaque, and I come from France. I'm doing spiritual practice for more than 20 years, and I live in India in an ashram for more than 10 years where I was doing more intense spiritual practice. And now for the past 1 year and a half, I'm traveling around Europe. And as we speak today, we are actually holding this live stream session from Croatia, where we are holding also different type of workshops. I will have also to share in brief about SSRF. This is the acronym of the Spiritual Science Research Foundation, and it was founded in 2006 with the blessing of His Holiness Dr. Vallee, that is a saint from higher order from India. And he is also the founder of the University of Spirituality, also known as the Maharishi University of Spirituality. So in regards to the University of Spirituality, it is to reinstate how it used to be in ancient India, where we have this 60 form of art. Because there is one principle in spirituality, is there is as many paths to God as there are people on earth. So we can grow through God through different type of art, such as music, art, dance, singing, and there are many forms of art. So the University of Spirituality is to re-establish this purpose so that anyone can grow all the way to God realization. And about SSRF, it has two main objectives. There is a website where we have more than 750 articles on different topics, and it varies from spiritual research, spiritual phenomena, about aspect of spiritual practice. We also conduct a lot of spiritual research using biofeedback device, and all our research are published on the website. And the main objective is to understand the spiritual dimension and that it has an effect on us, so that we understand that dimension and do some spiritual practice, has to progress spiritually. And the second objective is to guide the seeker in their spiritual journey all the way to God realization. So dear seeker, before we start always our live stream session, what we do, for those who are coming for the first time, for just 2 minutes, we will just close eyes. We can either meditate, we can either chant, or you can just focus on breathing. We will do that for 2 minutes so that the mind become calm and we can focus better on the lecture tonight. So we can close your eyes and we will play a chant also in the background.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय 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 Om Namo.
Okay, dear seeker, we can start now with the topic today. If you are just joining us, so today's topic in the series of, we call it question answers. The topic is 5 effective solutions for depression. For around 30 minutes, I will be sharing with you what definitions, the sign of depression, what is actually the cause, and at the same time, what are the effective solution. And then for the remaining 30 minutes, you can ask your questions, or any also if you are facing some obstacles, what can be, how we can get help with the answers. So dear seekers, in regards to this topic today, many of us may have experienced some level, we can say, of depressions in some point of our lives. And this is something common that we can experience. And even in today's time, many people around the world are experiencing, especially with also the current situation of the pandemic. And even today, depression is the most common mental ailment in many countries around the world. Often the person may be depressed, but may not be experienced or aware about it. And because of that, not knowing the sign or not being aware, the person is not taking fast action to come out of it. And it can have effect on us. And mainly what can it cause? It reduces our ability to perform, and we are not capable, or we don't have that best capacity. So in this session, what we will do, we will explain about the definition, what can be the sign also of depression, what is the different cause, and what can be the different solution that we can practice in our daily life activity. So of course, if you have different question, always feel free to write on the chat on YouTube or Facebook. The question we will address later at the end of the topic. So what is the definition, we can say, of depression? Some of you probably know, but depression is a mood disorder that causes a persisting feeling of sadness and loss of interest. It is a state of low mood and aversion to activity. It can affect a person's thoughts, it can affect the behavior, it can affect the motivation, the feelings, and overall the sense of well-being. And about the sign, it may be different for everyone. For some, it may be difficulty in thinking, it can be lack of concentrations, difficulty in decision making, and sometimes can lead to a feeling of self-worth or self-esteem, low self-esteem, or it can also generate insecurity or lack of confidence. In some, we can see an increase of pattern of sleeping disorders. And for those who may be depression may be more high, it can also create a feeling of hopelessness, or we can say suicidal thoughts also, or it can lead also to a feeling of dejections. We can see for everyone may be different depending on the intensity, because for some persons the depression may be short only, it may be few days, few weeks, just months. And for some persons they may experiencing months together or years together. So depending on the duration, the intensity also of those signs may be more. So when it comes to, we can say, conventional remedy, we know that is actually an imbalance of chemical in the body. We call it also neurohormones, and it can be genetic, it can be biological also. And this also can be triggered by different strong events in our lives, or also a succession of many small events. And usually what is the solution? The solution is we are prescribed by doctor antidepressant, and we are actually consulting with a psychologist. And on the internet, for those who sometimes feel, no, I don't want to see a psychologist because the depression may be mild or medium, as at times the person try to go on internet to find tips and solutions. But many times what happens, there is not a full sense of relief, and the person may experience bouts of depressions and keeps on coming. And for some, despite trying, it keeps on recurring. So when it comes to causes, as we know that as per the research we have done for more than 3 decades with the University of Spirituality and SSRF, what is also important to see is when there is a problem, it is important to address it at 3 levels. Because in today's time, depression is addressed at the physical level and at the psychological level. But here the cause also, one of the important cause of depression is also at the spiritual level. So when it comes to the spiritual dimension, there are, we can say, negative energy. There are also positive energy. But negative energy is more like entity who want to cause harm to us. And the way how they cause harm is by, we can say, covering the person with what we call black energy, and that create a sense to the person of lethargy, negative thinking, emotions, or emotion instability, or we can say depressions. Another important aspect that is more like psycho-spiritual, and it's also, you will see that combination between the spiritual dimension, how negative energy can influence or magnify through our personality defect. And why we say psycho-spiritual? Because personality defect actually reside in our subconscious mind. And there has been created not only from this birth, from previous births also. We are comprised of qualities and defect, and in average, a human being has a combination of 50% quality and 50% defect. And depending on this combination, we will react to the situation depending on the quality and defect. For example, if a person is more emotional by nature, then they will respond to the situation more emotionally. Then the person may feel more hurt by just a simple situation. And depending on the intensity of the impressions, or we can say the emotion impression, that person may get more hurt and may keep that hurt feeling for years together. So here what happens is defect within us, such as emotionalism, fear, worry, uh, anger, can lead us to negative thinking. And here what happens is negative energy from the spiritual dimension will capitalize or magnify the sense of emotion within us, or that anger feeling, because the aim is to keep our mind in a instability or to keep us in the negative state of mind. Because when this happens, then it becomes easier or easy for negative energy to control or affect the person. So this is the two main factor at spiritual level, that is the negative energy and personality defect within us. So what can be, we can say, the five solutions, because it is important to know that when we address a problem only at a physical or psychological level, then the chance to overcome the problem may take longer. So even also, if we address the problem only at spiritual level, and we don't address the problem also at the physical or psychological level, it may be more difficult for the person. So what we recommend is to address a problem always at 3 levels, because we have seen that there is often a combination of the problem or root cause of problem, or a combination that the problem may be only physical and psychological, but there is also a spiritual factor, or sometimes the problem may be only from the spiritual dimension, but at that time it will also affect the physical and psychological aspect. So for the solution, what we suggest is, if a person is experiencing, we can say, minor depression, or then we suggest daily exercise that is more at the physical level. But if the person is experiencing more higher, we can say, problem of depression, then usually they should be taking medicine, antidepressants that has been prescribed by doctors. And when it comes as a solution at the psychological level, if the problem is similar, less, not high depression, but more tendency to go into negative thinking that can lead to depression, it is to express our thoughts to someone who cares for us, someone close to us. So it can be our friends, it can be our family member. It is very important to express the negative thought or negative tendency or negative feelings that we keep in our mind. Why? Because if it is not addressed, then it is easier for negative energy in a way to use them, magnify them, and lead us to, we can say, deeper depression. Because when we express the negative thoughts in our mind wants to keep us alone or feel we are alone. But when we express those thoughts, it comes out of chest. We can become free from our mind, and the person who cares for us will help us. So that is, in a way, an easier solution, an effective solution. And for those who, we can say, experiencing more depressions, and even though after speaking to friend or family member are not able to overcome it, it is good to advise and speak to a psychologist. Why? Because they have understanding and are able to guide how to overcome those negative problems or negative feelings that the person keep. So we have seen what can be some practical tips at the physical and psychological level. But at SSRF, what we recommend or what we suggest is at the spiritual level or spiritual factors, this aspect about how negative energy can affect us or influence our mind. So one spiritual tool is repeating God's name. So we can see in this aspect there are two, it will work in two ways to help to overcome depression. So there is one principle that name, form, and energy coexist. So when we repeat a name or a divine chant, at that time we attract that energy within us. So it will create a positive protection around us, or it will also increase the positivity within us. So automatically the chance for negative energy to influence us will reduce because we have a protective shield. And the second aspect, how chanting helps, it is when we repeat a chant or a name in our mind, by default, only one thought is allowed to enter from the subconscious mind to the conscious mind. And there is this system of deflection method. That means the other thoughts are deflected, they are not able to enter our conscious mind. So what happens at that time is the mind becomes with less thoughts, less activity. So it is easier to remain in stability. So just to give an example, some people say you should do yoga, you should do meditation. But what happens? See, yoga, what we do yoga? We go for yoga, we sit for yoga. We go for that session for 1 hour, let's say. We go to some club, we do yoga, we go home. Or we do yoga at home for 1 hour. But what happens now? Our mind is active 24 hours. Our mind doesn't stop. During yoga activity, or meditation, our mind will stop for some time. But again, it will start working again. So those who may have tried that actually that negative thought or depression feeling may again start after a few hours or next day. And similarly with meditation, because sometimes when we are in a negative feeling or a depressing feeling, it is difficult to achieve meditation. We will always keep having thoughts in our mind. And there is limitation of time and space with yoga, we can say, or meditation. But with chanting, repeating God's name in our mind or repeating a divine chant in our mind, there is no limitation of time and space. We can repeat anytime and anywhere. So like that, we are able to counteract the activity of the mind. So automatically, because we are able to chant for many hours or few hours during the day, the mind activity become less. And because we are in a more stable state of mind, it is more difficult for negative energy to affect us or to affect our mind. So that is one solution, that is repeating God's name or repeating a divine chant. So we suggest two chant. One is Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. It is a Sanskrit and it means I bow to the divine principle of sustenance that is present everywhere. As I shared earlier, that when we repeat a divine chant, it is a principle, we will imbibe that principle within us. And that specific name, or we can say mantra, has that capacity today to counteract the intensity of negative vibration that is present everywhere. We are able, all of us, to see now how negative vibration has increased everywhere in the world. So that chant today is very potent and effective. You can download for free on the website. You can play it in low tone in your home and listen to it and try to repeat in your mind. And there is another chant that is Shri Gurudev Datta, and that principle helps to protect against ancestor problem. This is unsatisfied soul who in the afterlife have not fulfilled some desire or craving and come back to affect descendant and fulfill sometimes addictions and sometimes can cause actually depressions. I will share later some very interesting experience of seekers who after 20 years of depression, despite best psychological doctors, when she started repeating that chant, that mantra, Shri Guru Dev Datta, she was able to overcome depression within few months. So that is the aspect of chanting, the solution. You can download, and we will paste the link on the on the live chat, and you can download those two chant. And the other tool or tip that you can do is to overcome the defect in our mind. Because personality defects such as emotionalism, worry, fear, anger can lead easily to depression or we can say negative thinking, negative tendency. So this actually process of overcoming defect of personality has been created by His Holiness Dr. Atavali, that is the founder of the University of Spirituality and the source of inspiration of SSRF. And it is a sense from India, and by background, he was a hypnotherapist. And he went to England for more than 7 years, where he studied hypnotherapy as a clinical hypnotherapist. And when he came back in India, he was in charge of a clinic and he wrote many, we can say, papers on hypnotherapy. And he had a good cure. But as always in hypnotherapy, there are a case of 20 to 30% of cases that are not cured. And along his practice, what he saw is at one point of time, some people came back to him and said, Doctor, you tried to give me your best, Even he was not charging them, and they got cured. So he was actual at that time he was triggered and asked, "What did you do?" So he said, "I visited some holy men or some holy places in India, and I got cured." So at that time, this is where he realized that medical science have limitation, and the solution reside in spirituality, in the spiritual dimension. And this is where he stopped his medical practice, traveled around India, found his spiritual guru, His Holiness Bhaktaraj Maharaj, and understood that people today are suffering actually due to personality defect, and negative energy are today using them or magnify them. So this technique is how to overcome defect of personality. It is done in a systematic way to analyze and understand what are the negative tendency in our mind, address them, and to form a positive autosuggestion, that is, a suggestions that we repeat in our mind. See, as we have shared before, 50%, we are made of 50% of quality and 50% of defect. That is what is in our subconscious mind, and that actually comprise our personality. And every of those impressions, quality or defect, have been created through repetitions, through from this birth and previous birth. We have learned mathematics, we have learned languages through repetitions. So what we'll do with this autosuggestion technique, we repeat a positive autosuggestion or suggestions to tell our mind. And how we do is we repeat at least 15 times that suggestions per day in our mind. And when that impression gets created in our subconscious mind, it starts getting enough strength to counterbalance the negative thoughts or negative, we can say, emotion. So we're able to change our thoughts, we're able to change our action. So I will be pasting what can be the different type of autosuggestion we can do. So one can be whenever I start to feel sad, I will become aware of it. I will realize all the things that God has given me to achieve the purpose of my life. So I will calm down and focus on chanting. Or we can change also the last sentence. Or we can say, and I will feel reassured and grateful. So that can be one type of autosuggestions. It can be another type of autosuggestions. Whenever I start to feel depressed, I will become aware. I will realize that life is worth it. So I will calm down and focus on chanting. So we have many seekers who overcome different defects such as emotionalism, anger, insecurity, just merely with this simple technique of autosuggestions. So implementing these techniques such as autosuggestion and chanting, it is a good way or easier way we can say to overcome depression. Because many times what we have seen, there are people who are suffering for depression for 10 years, 20 years, all life long. They has been to many doctors. They may have changed antidepressant of different doses, of different types many times, and nothing changed. Or there will be some relief to some extent. Because if the spiritual dimension is not addressed, and it is only addressed at the physical and psychological, the change of cure is much less, or it is reduced. So this chanting is easier and easy to do, so we encourage you to do. And this technique of autosuggestions or introspections and help you to frame these autosuggestions. This is something that we can help you in our satsangs, or we can help you also in this satsang itself to frame these autosuggestions. Because framing ourselves or being objective to self to frame a tailor-made auto-session is not always easy. So dear seekers, now it is your turn to share your questions, or if you have experience also, some different type of depressions or struggle in life, you can also express. Or if you have any question about it, you can share also in the live chat. This is very nice. There is many questions already. So there is a question from Narla. I am suffering of OCD from 3 years. Help me regarding this. See, in regards to OCD it's a combine of disorder of sometimes two personality. And we have different seekers. We have also case study on the website where seekers have overcome the OCD. And often what we have seen in the research that was done with SSRF and MAV, that often OCD, the root cause of the problem, it is more due to ancestral problem or negative energy. So what you can do, Narla, if you can try to download on the website and listen to the chant of Shri Gurudev Datta, so you can try to repeat Shri Gurudev Datta in mind. Try to sit if you can with concentration and listen by 15 minutes. If you can, 30 minutes, it is better. And if you find difficult to concentrate, not to worry, you can try to just repeat in mind. What you can do also, you can play it in low tone in your house. Because often, such type of problem of OCD, the root cause is more in the spiritual dimension, but we recommend that you continue treatment given by doctors. There is another question from Renuka Rana. When there is a matter of health, I'm always getting worried. I just can't bear the tension and continue thinking, getting negative thoughts always. So what you can do, Renuka, that maybe what can help you here is chanting is one aspect because it reduces the number of thoughts in our mind. So the mind become more calm, but maybe you have worry. So you can address the worry aspect and take an auto-suggestion. So auto-suggestion can be like whenever I start to feel worried about health condition, I will become aware. I will realize that I will take all the necessary precaution. I will remain calm and focus on chanting. Or I will remain calm and do my activity. So you can see something like that. But ultimately, try to address this worry part. See, because when we are worried, it is again easy for negative energy from the spiritual dimension to magnify and intensify our negative thoughts. And today, because of the current situation, it is not going to stop. The pandemic may reduce to some extent, but because we are going towards more difficult time, the difficulty around us may increase. So it is important to try for you to work on worry or fear because it is important to remain in a stable state of mind. And we can help you. You can always contact us on the live chat or you can join also our free satsang. Our satsang are free of charge and we help the seekers to work actually in this particular topic on overcoming defect within us. Because it's important now when we start worry all the time, how can we enjoy life or present? There is another question from Nilesh Nagwani. Which chant is best for anxiety? Is chant for depression and anxiety different? See, ultimately, your name is Nilesh. Huh? So Nilesh, chanting again, chanting name of God as per your religion. So if you are coming from India, you can repeat your Kula Devi. That means your your name as per your family deity. If you are not attached to any religion, or you don't know, you can repeat also Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, because automatically, what is anxiety? When there is so many thoughts in our mind, it increases the feeling of worry, anxiety. So chanting name of Kula Devi, or we can say Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, what will help you to reduce the level of anxiety. But at the same time, you should address also, because that also it's a defect within us, anxiety. So to address this defect similarly as an autosuggestion technique. So it can be like that also. Whenever I start to feel anxious, and you can see what gives you anxious, whether it is family issue, whether it is work issue, whether it is health issue, you can address what topic exactly give you anxiety. So you can say, when I start feeling anxious about this and this, I will become aware, I will pray, remain calm and focus on chanting, or I will remain calm and focus on breathing. So then the mind become calm, stable. Then you are able to face situation with more stability. There is another questions from I can't read, it is in Hindi, so I can't read the name. And you share that I feel that I am poorly skilled and not worth of anything. I cannot support my wife and feel retracted while talking or interacting. Sometimes I feel very, very depressed and worthless. So what you can do, see whether it is feeling insecure, whether we feel worthless, we can't interact with others. See, from insecurity now we have to become confident. So same, you can work on this personality defect of overcoming insecurity, emotionalism, emotional sensitivity. So chanting and personality defect is a sure way. And if you work on it, you can overcome it. We have so many seekers who overcome different, even extremes, insecurity. I used to have different defect, emotions, emotionalism. I used to have insecurity also, but I overcame it fully. I work on myself for some time. I went to India, and my spiritual master guru also. Is because of him only that I was free of all that. But I implemented this process of overcoming defect within myself, and I could experience more I was taking autosuggestions, how slowly this negative thinking, or we can say more insecurity, started to fade away. Because in reality, the situation, it is an illusion in our mind, created by the different defect within us. But important is spiritual practice is necessary, because if we want to overcome defect within us, we are deep rooted. As you can see, how much is this impacting your life. If you work on it just a little bit, it will not be overcome. We have to work hard on it. So you can start stepwise, steadily. Start chanting God's name. Mind will become stable. And start taking autosuggestions. And we can similarly, we can help you in this process. There is a question from Calais, Darcini, how to restore hope and faith at time like that. See, ultimately how to restore hope, because see, we should have hope, we should have faith in God, because ultimately God is everywhere, God is in every one of us. We may lose faith now in society, in what is happening around us, but we should never lose faith and hope in God. So if we do spiritual practice, if we work on ourselves, and chanting God's name is one connection to talk to God. And then if we talk to God, God will respond one day or another. And if we increase our faith to God, God will definitely respond. So there is no solution to restore hope. we should do spiritual practice only. And when we have faith in God, we don't have any worry, we don't have any fear. Why? Because we experience that God is everywhere, within us and around us. So there is no fear at all. And we experience calmness, we experience stability, we experience spiritual emotion and bliss also. And all of us have that capacity and potential. Why? Because God is present in everyone. But ultimately, it is our free will to decide whether I want to gain things or I want to gain spiritual progress, spiritual growth. And there is no secret in spirituality. To make spiritual progress, I have to dedicate time to spiritual practice. So what you can do, give time to spiritual practice. Start chanting God's name. Then you will start getting spiritual experience of God's presence. And then it will lead to faith. And faith will lead to internal stability. There is a question from Yogesh Nikam. Every day I try to wake up at early morning at 5 a.m. to start the day with spirit and motivation. But failure in same, then I wake up late. Then I start getting depressed and tense. So you can see, Yogesh, also whether your aim or plan are too high. So instead of maybe, I don't know what is your daily activity, but you can see whether of achieving a too high aim, then you fall and you feel depressed. Maybe you can try to make it more easy for you to achieve and then keep on increasing. So instead of waking up at 5 and wake up at 6. So maybe to reduce expectation towards self, try to make a plan that is more realistic that you can achieve. That will give you, in a way, inner satisfaction, inner motivation, and then increase stepwise. There is another question from Ragini Pote. How to avoid negative thoughts in this pandemic, as my doctor by profession get exhausted mentally as well physically. Now in my hospital also I'm worried while seeing patients. If I understood you are a doctor, is it, no? Yeah, doctor, okay. That can be understood, Ragini. That is a good thing that you are doctor and helping others. And definitely with this situation now, it must be very challenging for doctors to manage that capacity. So that's why chanting God's name will give you that energy, because when we repeat God's name or a divine chant, we receive that divine protections and we receive that divine chant within us, that positivity. So you can see, I don't know from which religion you are, you can either chant as per your religion of birth. We will paste on the website so you can read about which chant to chant as per my religion. If we are not attached to any religion, you can repeat that chant that I mentioned, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Why? Because it has also the potency to counteract the negative vibration in society. And what you can do also, because you are a doctor, you are exposed now to the coronavirus. So with the research of the University of Spirituality, actually we have a mantra, a combination of 3 mantra that helps to some extent to protect from the coronavirus. So we will paste on the chat this mantra for the coronavirus. So you can also repeat in mind this chant, or you can play it when you are in the hospital. You can play it in low tone. And if you know doctors, we also probably may be affected mentally by facing so much of struggle day out and night. You can tell them also about chanting. In SSRF and the University of Spirituality, we have many doctors. Why? Because the founder himself is a doctor. So there are many doctors all over India and abroad also who follow SSRF. So if you know doctors, you can tell them this coronavirus chant for protections. There is another question from Sunidas. From past 15 days, I'm suffering from fever, dry cause weakness, unable to walk. I get dream most of the time I will die. I may have the COVID. I am chanting corona protection. I try to follow as per SSRF. About overcoming, and I have to chant. Do I have to chant anything to overcome negative dream? So what you can do, just to continue as you are doing this coronavirus chant, but you can play also the chant of Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya in low tone during the night. So that at that time to reduce the negative dream. You can play that in low tone in the house. There is another question from Anusaya Savant. How to get rid of medicine taken from psychologists for the last 17 years for anxiety and nervousness. If I understood properly, for more than 17 years, you have been taking medicine, but you are not getting relieved from anxiety and nervousness. So sometimes this is one rule or something that we can understand, that if something doesn't go for so many years after proper treatment, the chance to be that the root cause comes from the spiritual dimension. So you can repeat the name of Shri Gurudev Datta. You can first repeat Shri Gurudev Datta 2 hours per day. And you can try also to repeat after some time 1 hour to do 2 hours plus after 1 hour of Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And you can play also in your apartment in low tone alternate. You can then load and you can play half an hour to 1 hour or for few hours Shri Gurudev Datta, and you can after play for few hours Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Because the chance that if you are suffering for more than 17 years, it can be due to ancestral problem. You can also try the salt water remedy. It is a simple remedy that helps to remove the black covering around us. So we can paste also in the chat this simple remedy, and any of you that I shared before, all of you also can complement between this aspect of chanting, repeating the divine chant, or also this aspect of autosuggestion technique. If you can complement with a salt water therapy, which is very simple and very effective. And it just takes actually 15 minutes. It takes 2-3 minutes to prepare and 15 minutes to do. And many also have experienced relief by doing so. And it is something natural. There is another question from Poonam Churasia. I'm short-tempered. Due to that, in my family, I suffer a lot. I'm trying to change my habit, but getting very less result. Many times my mind say me that you can't make any change, so I feel depressed. So Poonam, actually in regards to short tempers, it can be two factors. One, it is defect within us of anger, and that you can work on it. We have seekers who were short tempered, and from short temper they still have anger, but they become more calm. The anger is more in control. So it is achievable, it is possible, but you have to work on it. You have to give time. Because one is working on reducing the defect within you of anger. So that you can join our live chat, or you can also come to the satsang, because we can help you to formulate autosuggestion technique or to give different perspective how to work on it. Satsang are free of charge. It is online on FCC, and there are seekers from different parts of the world who are coming, and it is different time zone also. And Poonam, what you can do also same. See, sometimes anger, as I shared before, no? Negative energy will capitalize on our defect and magnify the intensity. So sometimes we may have anger, but because of negative energy, we become short-tempered or it become extreme. So like that, I recommend that you also start chanting God's name. So you can see as per your religion of birth, or otherwise you can repeat also Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. But just to remember, Punam, there is hope. Just to remember that many seekers have overcome. So if many seekers have overcome, it is possible. If us, even if something is telling you you will not change, actually everyone can change. It is possible. But just we should not keep expectations that I will change within few days. It may take few weeks, it may take few months. But to understand that when we are able to overcome short temper, or we can say other defect, then we will be able to live a more happier life. There is another question from Divya Vutal. My husband is suffering from bipolar disorders. I researched a lot about treatment in Ayurveda or traditional medicine, but didn't find any. Currently, he is on a lot of medication. As I shared also before Divya, in regards to bipolar disorders, that we have different case studies. And what we have found through research that often the bipolar disorders is actually caused by a negative energy affecting. It can be either ancestors or negative energy affecting the person, because it is double personality. Personality of the person and personality at that time of the negative energy or the ancestors. So that's why chanting God's name will be very helpful. So they can repeat Shri Gurudev Datta. All of you in the family can repeat Shri Gurudev Datta. For your husband, it may be difficult to repeat, but you can play the Shri Gurudev Datta in low tone in the house. And you also can repeat. And if you have children, they can repeat also. And initially, maybe he may not be able to do, but he may be able to repeat also. But even if there is after some time result that by repeating Datta chant, Shri Gurudev Datta, it become less, not to stop medicine, to continue the treatment. There is another question from Camilo Narves. I have a question. I've been increasing the time of chanting, but I don't feel the quality is as good, and I get distracted, and I don't feel the same result. See, Camilo, just when it comes to chanting, no, initially what happened, we may repeat in mind, because initially we have to create that impression in our subconscious mind. So initially we may just repeat, it will take some time. That's why we should give to this practice at least 3 months to 6 months. So initially we may not feel relief, or we may feel to some extent. Someday we may feel relief, someday we may not feel relief. And it may be more mechanical. But in some other day, what can happen? When we keep on increasing and chanting, we will start experiencing better benefit. We will start experiencing calmness. So you can observe, Camilo, whether someday you are feeling better or someday you are struggling. See, there is new moon and full moon. On those days, it will be difficult to chant. We may not feel anything positive, but some other day we may feel calmer also. Our mind be less active. There is another question from Vikram Portal. When I came about upcoming war, I went into depression. I lost all my interest in worldly achievement. I stopped further study and no career goal. See, it's important, Vikrant, no, that whether time are going to be difficult, we have to continue. Seekers now are continuing their spiritual practice. They are continuing also whatever they are doing. So at that time we can chant in mind. Ultimately, we should not go into defeatism, into negative way of thinking. Because ultimately we have to face those difficult times. And we should continue whatever we are doing. But what we are doing by repeating God's name or by working on emotionalism, fear, worry, we want our mind to become stable. Even the upcoming time are coming, we will have to live a life also. As we have seen today in the pandemic, we are experiencing. Life is continuing also. But what helps if we are stable, we are able to continue in a stable mind. There is another question from Apurva Deshpande. Nowadays, I'm thinking that while doing spiritual practice, no one is there, no one is there to guide me or help me. So how can I overcome this problem? So actually, Apurva, in a way, is true. See, trying to do spiritual practice alone is very difficult. So it is good to know somebody who can help us in our spiritual journey. Until and unless we reach a higher stage in spiritual practice, then we can really be guided from inside. So what you can do, see, for SSRF, this is one of our, we can say, main objective is to guide a seeker in their spiritual journey all the way to God realization, regardless of their path. Because there are as many paths to God as there are people, but initially the person should create a proper foundation in their spiritual practice. When the foundation is established, then they are able to make spiritual progress. And one of the good way is to overcome defect within self. When we are able to achieve stability, then whatever path we do, we can progress easily. So if you can come, you are invited to our satsang. It is free of charge, and we have weekly satsang. It is in English and different language and different time zone also. You can write to us on the live chat or in the chat also. There is a little bit more questions. I will go a little bit over time, even though we have covered the time. I will continue because all of you are asking nice questions. There is another question from Andrea. I am pregnant, but I struggle in my marriage. I have fear instead about the baby, and I'm detached and feel despair. I want to feel happiness only for the baby. So Andrea, what you can do now, chanting God's name, make our mind stable and positive. Being pregnant is very nice, so we should feel positive. When we repeat God's name, we attract God's energy within us. So it creates protective shield. And what you can do when you chant God's name, you can put your palm on your stomach. So the positive vibration of the chant will go into the womb. And that will increase the positivity in the child, in the womb. It is like that. It's like a mudra. We press mudra in chakras, no? So same, you can put the palm and you touch the stomach. And you can chant. Or what you can do also, you can play the chant in low tone, repeat in mind, and place the palm on your stomach. There is another question from Over Moon Florist. It's a nice name, Over Moon Florist. Namaskar. I suffer from severe anxiety. Will salt water help? See, again, I shared before, no? Somebody also shared about anxiety. So salt water is just at one aspect. But here we should work on also chanting God's name, because if it is magnified by negative energy or ancestor, and especially addressed as a personality defect, so to take autosuggestion and to address the exact aspects that give you anxiety, like whenever I start feeling anxiety about this and this, I will become aware, I will remain calm and start chanting. There is another question from Neha Sarma. I'm facing depression since many years. I can't chant any mantra because after a few days I stop believing that mantra and lose interest in it and don't know what I should chant. I am having severe career loss and lost hope. So Neha, see what you can do now. You can try to combine this aspect of repeating this chant, or you can listen to the chant. Try to make a goal to listen. Even if you find difficult to repeat, you can listen. You can download, you can put it on iPod and listen to it for half an hour per day. You can try to do also salt water that will remove lethargy. And you can also try to work on this autosuggestion technique. And if you can join also in our satsang. Satsang is this group of seekers that join on FCC. It is free, where seekers are joining together. And because when seekers join together in this satsang, there is an increase in positive vibration, and seekers feel more positive towards themselves. So what is very important, Neha, you should not give up. You should make effort. And sometimes that feeling not to give up to repeat any chant, it can be because negative can prevent you, to stop you. Because if negative vibration or negative energy is affecting you, at that time they will stop you from that. You can try to listen to it and try to persevere. Because ultimately, no, Neha, we should live a happy life, no? We should be happy. We should not go into negative state. We should be able to overcome it. And it is possible. We have many seekers who overcome it. So, dear seeker, I will end today with this topic. It is very nice, and it is very nice to see that we are sharing freely and openly. I just wanted to share this message to all of you that we should keep hope, we should have faith, and we should believe that it is very possible that we can overcome depression, negative thinking. Why? Because negative energy can influence us, defect within us. But remember, spiritual practice or God is far more powerful than any negative energy. Spiritual practice can overcome everything. Overcoming defect of personality is possible. We can study the website. We have many case study of seekers who overcome it. Depressions, addictions, emotionalism. And many of them said it's not possible. But even though they succeed, why? Because God is there. So dear seeker, please persevere and try to come out of it. Because ultimately, in the purpose of life, we should experience happiness. We should be able to grow spiritually and experience happiness. So, dear seekers, that's it for tonight's topic. It is nice that you join. You can continue to join us in our further live stream. Tomorrow, some of you know, if you are experiencing struggle, join to our collective chanting meditation. We have saints who sit for collective chanting. You just have to sit. You can connect on YouTube or Facebook. You can just sit and listen to the chant. And many are experiencing benefit just by joining the collective chanting meditation. Because at that time, we are able to get positive vibrations. try to join also our satsangs. They are free of charge. So, sir, tomorrow and in 2 days we will have also another collective chanting meditation session. Next week, our series of question answer will be how to select the best spiritual books or video, and in 2 weeks, that will be on 5th and 6th August, we have a very interesting topic about Kundalini awakening and activation of chakras. That is very interesting topic. So, dear seeker, it was nice to see you in this live stream tonight. Gratitude to all of you. Namaskar. And keep hope, no? Important things. We have to fight. We have to fight our mind. We should be, every human being has the right to be happy and experience bliss and potential. And it is possible. Namaskar, everyone.